Today in World War II history, I'm going to be telling you the story of my great-grandfather, Alfons Storlaski, a Polish-born man who served in the Polish Paratrooper Brigade during the Second World War. My great-grandfather, Alfons Storlaski, was born in Poland in 1926, somewhere near the Germany-Poland border, and was the eldest of some 6 children. When war broke out in 1939, my great-grandfather was 14 years old. He and his brother were advised by their parents to leave Poland, as that's where the Nazis and Soviets were attacking. So aged 14, my great-grandfather said his final goodbyes to his siblings, mother and father, and headed to Britain. It took him over a year to make it to Britain, as when he made his way through countries such as the Netherlands and Belgium, they were crawling with Nazi forces, so he had to spend a lot of time hiding so he wasn't captured and sent back to Poland. My great-grandfather and his brother finally made their way across the English Channel in 1941, where they sought refuge with many other Polish families and Polish armed forces. They went up to Scotland, where they lived for the next couple of years. Then, in 1943, my great-grandfather's brother joined the 1st Polish Independent Parachute Brigade. The next year and a bit, they trained at Upper Argo in the east of Scotland, where they became both experienced and well-trained paratroopers. This prepared them for their only engagement of the Second World War, Operation Market Garden. On the evening of the 17th of September 1944, roughly 41,000 airborne troops, including my grandfather and his brother, prepared to be flown over Arnhem, where they would be dropped and stranded with the goal of securing bridges around the Eindhoven and Nijmegen areas. Early in the morning of September 17th, 1944, around 1,300 planes set off from various RAF bases across England carrying thousands of airborne troops. My great-grandfather and his brother were on the same plane together and both had the same drop zone. As soon as the aircraft carrying the airborne troops entered the airspace over Arnhem, they were met with immediate, deadly anti-aircraft fire. My grandfather's plane managed to stay airborne and made it all the way to their drop zone. As soon as the green light showed, telling the paratroopers to jump, they did. As soon as my grandfather and his brother jumped, they were met with immediate gunfire from various MG-42 nests and German troops scattered across the countryside. My great-grandfather managed to successfully make it all the way down without being injured. However, his brother didn't. He was shot multiple times and killed whilst jumping. My great-grandfather saw this. He saw his own brother get torn to pieces by German machine gun fire. Obviously, he was distraught. Who wouldn't be? But he had to move on and focus on his mission. Throughout the next coming days, Alfons Storlaski advanced along with his fellow paratroopers, helping in the recapturing of Eindhoven and Nijmegen. However, around a week later, the operation came to an end, with paratroopers being overrun by the 9th and 10th Panzer Divisions, and the remainder of the troops being trapped in a small pocket of a bridge in Arnhem on the 25th of September. My great-grandfather was evacuated from Arnhem and sent back to Scotland, where he would spend the remainder of the war working in multiple army bases across the UK. When the war ended on the Western Front on the 8th of May 1945, my great-grandfather settled up in Scotland in a little town called Prestonpans, where he would later marry his wife Annie. Together they had 8 children, one of them whom is my granddad, who went on to have my mother, who went on to have me. Alfons's father and some siblings died as a result of the war. He managed to stay in contact with his mother through letter, but never got to see her again. He got to meet his youngest sister, Genia Storlaski, who also managed to survive the war one last time. I would like the legacy of my great-grandfather, Alfons Storlaski, to live on throughout the generations of my family. I want them to know about what he did during the Second World War and everything he sacrificed.